Looking for Thursday night football, game analysis, expert injury analysis, and of course, NFL best bets. Well, my friends, you've come to the right place. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. What is up, folks? I am your host, the DGen Doc. And look, folks, full transparency, I'm a little under the weather today. So, a couple things. One, we're going to get right to business, and we're going to make some money. Look, of course, I could not miss hanging out with you guys every Thursday as I do, breaking down this Thursday night football game. One, we've got an awesome game, an awesome NFC North rivalry. We've got the Green Bay Packers at 9-3, traveling to the Motor City to take on the Detroit Lions at 11-1. So the game is awesome, and I've got some winners for y'all this week. I feel really good about some of the picks, so of course I could not miss it. So apologize for the voice, and if you see any coughing, you didn't see anything. But all right, folks, let's get into it. So we've got Green Bay catching 3.5 on the road at minus 120, money line at plus 150. Detroit home favorite minus 3.5 plus 100, minus 180 on the money line. Over under sitting at 52.5. As always, let's start with the injuries, and it's pretty nice in this game. In this case, very cut and dry. Either the guy's out or he's playing, right? There's no questionable, there's no doubtful, which is always very nice because it makes things very simple. We obviously knew very cut and dry who was going to play, who was not going to play as of yesterday. So let's start with the home team with the Detroit Lions. Their offense is very healthy, actually. Really, it's just left tackle Taylor Decker. He's the only one that's going to be out, which their sixth-man offensive lineman, Dan Skipper, is one of the better ones in the league. So, definitely a little bit of a drop-off. Taylor Decker, one of the best left tackles in the league. But Dan Skipper is not a bad offensive lineman himself. So offense is going to be pretty intact. It's the defense. I mean, this defense is absolutely decimated with injuries. Let's talk about the new ones first, the ones for this game. Last week, starting linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez tore his ACL. He's out for the season. He joined a lot of his buddies on the IR. For this game, three defensive linemen are going to be out. Defensive end Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Paschal, and defensive tackle DJ Reader. Obviously, already on IR, you have Aiden Hutchinson, linebacker Derek Barnes, linebacker Alex Anzalone, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and then again, Malcolm Rodriguez. So that front seven in particular is very, very beat up, right? Excuse me. You've got backups playing everywhere on that Detroit front seven. Now, the good news is they did get some guys back on the second with Emmanuel Mosley at corner and Terrion Arnold is back. So their secondary is actually pretty damn healthy. But that front seven, man, they are beat up. And we're going to get to that a little bit more. But let's go over to the Green Bay side. A couple injuries on the east side there. They've got on the offense, wide receiver Romeo Doubs out with a concussion. Now, obviously, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. You've got Heath. You got Dontavian Wicks. They've kind of got a good rotation of wide receivers. Doubs, I do like him. He is reliable, but I don't think this is a huge loss for the Packers offense. And the defensive side, Zaire Alexander, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. This is a big injury, but let's be honest. Zaire Alexander's had a very, very difficult time staying on the field, not only this year, but the past couple of years. So this Green Bay defense has learned to play without him. I mean, it is a loss, definitely, but I don't want to overstate it that it's some devastating thing that the team's never played with, right? Because Alexander, unfortunately for as good he is, he does miss a ton of games. You also have starting linebacker Edgerrin Cooper, rookie out of Texas A&M. He's out with a hamstring. And then backup, kind of rotational defensive back Corey Ballantyne is out as well. So, you got two starters on defense for the Packers. You've got three kind of depth potential starters, really four for the Lions, but it's just kind of compounding thing for that Lions front seven. Let's talk about how I think this game's going to go. So right off the bat, I'm going to be on Green Bay plus 3.5. Look, I think this game is going to be close. I understand they are on the road, but, every week it seems like there's more and more injuries to this Lions defense, and it's just like there's no way they can continue to just blow teams out, right? And it seems like every week they've been proving us wrong. But when we look at last week, it started off in that first half on Thanksgiving where they looked like they were on their way to blowing out the Bears. And then the Bears kind of hung around, and more guys kept going down on that defense. And I mean, the Bears had a prime opportunity to tie that game, if not win that game with Caleb Williams before he we're not going to get into that, but whatever he decided to do, right? So I think the Green Bay Packers, one, are a better team than the Chicago Bears. I understand that the Lions and Packers already played, and the Lions came away with a 10-point victory on the road. But again, that defense was healthier. They had guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, like Alex Anzalone, like Raves Maven there. So I think the Packers are able to keep this close. Now, I'm not ready to take them on the money line. That's why I'm going to go with the plus 3.5 at minus 120. I think it's a field goal game either way. I think it's much more of a coin flip game. And really, where I see the Packers having success is through the run game. I think if the Packers are smart, which Matt LaFleur has proven to be one of the better coaches in the NFL, especially late in the season, if he's smart, he's going to run the ball 40 plus times this game. Now, I've talked about the injuries on the defensive side for the Lions. They, overall for the rush defense, only give up 94 yards on the ground, but they do give up 4.4 yards a carry. So that tells me it's not as much that they're so stout against the run. It's just that they're usually leading by so much, not many teams run on them. And if we look back, I'm going to pull up the box score of the game they played, a few weeks ago, earlier in the season. And it's not like the Packers were not having success on the ground. They rushed for 6 yards a carry, as we see here. Jacobs 13 for 95, Emmanuel Wilson 4 for 28, Chris Brooks 2 for 13. So it's not the fact that the Packers, weren't successful when they were running the ball. It was just a little bit of game script. The game got away from them. I think they have a much more methodical approach this time. I think they really do lean on that run game early and often. Because you've got a situation where you have a Lions offense that's proven they are very explosive, right? How do you keep an explosive offense off the field? You grind them out, you run the ball. I think this is what they're going to do. I think the injuries finally start to add up again on that defensive line. DJ Reader being out is a huge loss for this team. They've already lost a lot of edge pressure. The Packers, one thing they do is keep Jordan Love healthy, only giving up 15 sacks on the season. And they have a pretty good run offense already. So I think they're able to lean into the run game, and I think they're able to keep this close. All right, getting into the props that I do see here. I'm going to lean. I just talked about how I think this is going to go, so it's going to make sense. I go Josh Jacobs over 16.5 rush attempts at minus 130. This is a situation where in games where they've been close or they have won, Josh Jacobs has been great to this number. And again, I just talked about it. Matt LaFleur is a good coach. He understands Jordan Love, good quarterback, but a little bit of a wild card back there. The Lions defense, for their credit, their whole secondary is healthy. They've only given up 10 pass touchdowns, and they have 14 interceptions. Jordan Love, a guy who's prone to throwing interceptions. I think Matt LaFleur realizes this. Again, I think he hands the ball off to Josh Jacobs and some of these other backs plenty of time. So give me Jacobs over 16.5 rush attempts at minus 130. Give me also over 74.5 rush yards at minus 110. I like them both. I mean, I can see him having a 20 carry, 90-yard day. Also, a little bit more of, I like to identify somebody who's a little bit off the radar, somebody who has the potential to really, if he hits, we can really be cashing well. It's been successful in the past, and I'm going back to it. I'm going to go to the RB2 here, Chris Brooks. That's right, Chris Brooks, not Emmanuel Wilson there. He's kind of been taking over that snap count, that snap share. I'm going to start with just his over 9.5 rush yards at minus 110, but this is a ladder situation for me. I'm going to play him, 20 plus yards on the ground is plus 290. I'm playing him all the way up to 40 plus yards at 13-1. Obviously, that's reaching for the moon a little bit there, but I think Chris Brooks is a guy that he's been getting more carries, more touches, and he's shown to be productive. He's averaging 4.6 yards on the season. He had only 3 carries last week for 28 yards, 4 for 11 the week before, 2 for 13, 4 for 16. I think that, he's getting more snaps. I think he's going to be getting some of these Emmanuel Wilson carries. So I really like Chris Brooks. I also like him to knock it into the end zone. It's plus 750 right now. It's 8-1 early in the week. Again, I think the Packers' best way to success is to run the ball 40 plus times, right? Let's take advantage of this beat up defensive line, this beat up front seven, and let's make sure we keep that Lions prolific offense off the field. Let's churn some clock. Let's make it an ugly NFC North game. So I like Josh Jacobs and I like Chris Brooks as my nice little spicy ladder. All right, on the Detroit Lions side of the ball, because I do think both these teams are going to have some success on offense. Give me a Ramon St. Brown over 6.5 receptions at minus 105. He had 7 last time they played. No Jair Alexander, as I talked about. I think he's going to be fed early and often. This Packers defense, They are good in through the air, but they do give up some yards there. They really kind of, only 16 touchdowns allowed with 11 interceptions. Both these defenses are really opportunistic, but they do let up some yards. So I do think that, Amon-Ra is going to get targeted early and often, and really it's with no Jair Alexander to lock down that wide receiver 1. Give me his receptions there. On the defensive side, because it's IDP plus, we got to give you some defensive bets. Give me Brian Branch over 3.5 solo tackles at -155. We're laying some juice here, but look, he's hit this in 9 out of his 11 games, 82% hit rate. I mean, I will lay the -155 for that. I think that it's a situation where I just told you I'm anticipating the Packers to run the ball 35, 40 times. Brian Branch is a safety who plays down in the box. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He's not afraid to make some tackles. So whether it's on Amon-Ra or whether it's on some of these backs here, I like Brian Branch over 3.5 solo tackles there at -155. And then a little bit of the sprinkle. Usually it's an anytime touchdown play for me, but this week I'm getting into the interception prop. I'm going Kirby Joseph over or to have an interception plus 525 there. Look, he's tied for the league with Xavier McKinney with 7. He picked off Jordan Love last time these two teams played. I talked about it. Jordan Love, he went from turning the ball over almost every game to he's kept it kind of clean these past 2 weeks. I don't think that's him magically figuring it out in his ways. I think he's been very lucky. I know San Francisco definitely dropped a couple interceptions. They're going to be playing in a dome. He's going to want to launch it down the field. And I like Kirby Joseph to go ahead and wind up with one of those in his hands. The Jordan Love just interception prop is -170. Instead of laying that, I'm going to try to get specific and go Kirby Joseph there for over a 5-1 there. Look, I think he's going to do it again to him. So overall, guys, I am on the Packers at +3.5. I do think they keep it close. Not quite ready to money line it left. Look, Detroit's been one of my favorite teams this year. I don't want to be rooting against them too much there. They are my Super Bowl pick. They were for the start of the season. But I do think this is a close game. I think this is much closer to a coin flip than a situation where the Lions are going to blow somebody out like they've done so many times this season. And I think the path to success is through the Packers running game. That's where I think this game is going to go. I think it's going to dictate the game. So give me Josh Jacobs as the bow count and give me Chris Brooks to give us a little bit of energy, a little bit of spark, and a little bit of a nice payday for our books there. All right, folks. Look, I hope you enjoyed it. As always, every week doing Thursday Night Football live breakdown. We've got injury analysis. We've got game breakdown. Of course, I'm giving you actionable information. The bets I've already made, the bets that I believe are going to cash us and make us some winners there. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, do all of the things that as a new channel, we very much appreciate. And hey, if you like what I'm talking about, you want to hear more, I will be recording a NFL Week 14 best bets. That is my 6 favorite offensive prop bets for the entire NFL slate for Sunday and for Monday. That'll be released either tonight or tomorrow. I'm actually going to jump in the studio and record that now. So, all right, folks, listen, from here, us at IDP Plus Bets, we really appreciate you joining us. Hope you crack a cold one, enjoy the game, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.